A trickster is someone who's very well clothed in a mask, playing a role to achieve a certain aim. Tricksters are two-faced individuals, filled with dishonesty, disloyalty, and oftentimes exhibit narcissistic traits on their victims. The life of tricksters are psychopathic and sociopathic, and the motive of their existence is totally based on reverse psychology. One of the textbook signs that someone is a psychopath is their lack of morals. Most people who are not psychopaths respect rules and laws. Oftentimes, have different set of morals that they live by, whether consciously or unconsciously. I think it's vital to inform you that psychopaths make up 17% of the prison population. So it's vital to know the kind of people you keep around you, and most importantly protect yourself mentally from these individuals. I'd give you 4 solid signs that you might be dealing with a trickster, psychopaths or sociopaths. 1. Pathological lying. Tricksters and psychopaths are often pathological liars, and they're very good at what they do. A trickster oftentimes fabricates blatant lies and make it look and sound real. Their aim when doing the lying job is to gain an escape route out of that situation, and also giving them the upper hand. In either workplace or relationships, they oftentimes give distorted reality to their subjects or victims, and in return they gain the power to escape the blames and not be held accountable for their wrongdoings, often slandering their own victim names in the process with gossips, and they act as if you're the one hurting them the most. They never accept accountability. 2. Lacks empathy and always remain callous. Brain scans of psychopaths shows that they have a reduction in functioning of their prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is our most evolved area in the brain, and it's responsible for things like empathy, learning from past mistakes using reflection, forming principles, morals. They project their insecurities on you to make you vulnerable. 3. They directly blame others for their misfortunes. Even when a psychopath wasn't caught for acting wrongly, they feel the need to blame others for them. A psychopath will blame you for the problems in the relationship. They will blame you for leaving them, and they'll blame you for being happy and successful without them. Everything wrong is about you and never about them. 4. Multiple sexual partners and short-term relationships. Psychopaths have the pattern of multiple relationship and one-night stands. Their need to relieve their boredom often leads to sexual encounters. They're oftentimes never satisfied having sex with an opposite sex, so they keep same-sex relationships too. Research shows that majority of the people with multiple sexual disorders suffer from sexual dysfunction. And it's important to always know your sexuality. Are you attracted to an opposite sex, same sex, or both? Figure that out yourself. I want you to know that Satan is the father of lies and the primary figure of a trickster and lies. Certainly, his children possesses the fruits of their father. The devil cannot see us succeed, so he tries to disrupt our blessings by putting obstacles our way, and he needs time and consistency to do this. He's consistent in putting obstacles our way, so we should be consistent in prayers and moving forward and never hold back. One important thing that every Christian should seek out for is guidance and direction from the Lord. That is why many believers backslide over time, because they have lacked proper guidance on their part. It's not all about being guided, but knowing right part and the dangers on the road, which is the devil and his servants. In order to get to God, we have to go through obstacles that the devil has placed on our path. These obstacles could be pornography, masturbation, stealing, sex addiction, greed, etc. There is always a price to pay. Satan's scheme is to make sure he does all he can to keep out of the reach of God. He wants to disconnect man from God by making them sin over and over again. He wants man to see reasons to justify his sin. One thing we should acknowledge is that we have a higher self and a lower self. Let me explain. Number 1. The higher self. The higher self is your higher mind, that part of you that wants to be successful, great, and productive to yourself and the society. That higher mind thinks big, dreams big, and act in accordance to your divine purpose. The higher self is your spirit man, that knows that all things comes from God who made heaven and earth. Our soul craves to do the Lord's will, whether you choose to believe it or not. There's always this part of us that reminds you to pray, to do good, love, and be kind towards others no matter what. Number 2. The lower self. The lower self is your flesh, lust and desire of the flesh. This lower self craves to feed the flesh and oftentimes lacks empathy. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there are 5 primary factors of needs in there. 1. Self-actualization. Talking about self-actualization, this is our desire to become the most that we can be. We have dreams and goals to achieve, but it shouldn't be based on the wrong motive. We owe it to ourselves to really prove that we can actually make our dreams come true. Some people want to be wealthy so they can become respected icons in the society. It doesn't work that way. 2. Self-esteem. Our self-esteem rely on how we present ourselves to be. The self-esteem governs the part of us that desires respect, status, recognition, strength, and freedom. But when we operate out of our lower self, it becomes an obsession to us. 3. Love and belongings. We all want to love and be loved in a healthy way. Also, we want and desire the finest things of life. But we should be willing to work for it, and more often we should endure the long suffering in order to attain these blessings. People become so obsessed that they want to do anything for material gain, even if it means selling their soul to the devil. What shall it profit a man to gain the whole world and yet lose his soul? 4. Safety needs. Our brain interpret messages of safety to us on a day-to-day basis. We want to secure that property, we want resources, we want to be assured of good health, etc. Safety is important, however to gain them we must ensure it's attained for the right motives. We typically do not need to shed bloods in order to acquire the nicest things of life. 5. Psychological needs. The air we breathe, the water we drink satisfies our thirst. All these are psychological needs. We don't need anyone to tell us that we need cloths for our bodies or to sleep at night to rejuvenate our mind and bodies. These needs are done automatically by our brains, cause it has a reticular activating system that pushes the body to react when it needs to. In conclusion, we always have two forces in motion and in opposition to one another. The light and darkness, good and evil, right and wrong, love and hate, kindness and wickedness, etc. The only thing we're left with is the freedom of choice, to decide what's best for us and which route to take. But understand that every action taken has a payout attached to it. It's called karma. So whether you do bad or good, you'd equally receive your karma for what you've done. We are not perfect, we are not righteous, we aren't holy either. When we sin, we ask God for forgiveness and ask Him to help us not to sin again. It becomes an erroneous factor to indulge in habitual sin. This is our constant desire for pleasure and not taking accountability for our actions. The difference between believers and true believers is accountability and willingness to make a change. So what are you struggling with? Are you willing to let it go? If you are, I'd quickly want to say a prayer for you. Dear Father, I pray for the person reading this that has decided within themselves to acknowledge their sins and their willingness to make a change. Father, help them become a better version of themselves. Give them the wisdom and strength to overcome whatever addiction they may have that keeps them bound to the devil. Help them cut ties with friends, lovers or activities that lures them back to sin. Help them acknowledge and create a better spirit within them that most definitely serves you better. Amen. My name is Bazzy Francis and I'm sending you so much love and light.